All right. So seems like Terence Crawford might have made Bob Arum back down off of a request that he take a pay cut to fight. Let's talk about what Bob Arum had to say about Terence Crawford needing to fight for less money and Terence Crawford's response in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, man. I love this conversation because it has something to do with contract negotiations, which is something that I do for a living, like in my real job. So this was a very fun one to watch. And I told you so that this was pretty much how this was going to get played out. Now, before I get into that, though, let me say special thank you to everybody that is subscribed to the channel. If you're not subscribed, I hope you would accept my invitation to subscribe. And if you do, make sure, or if you are subscribed, make sure that you hit the bell icon so you can, and then select all notifications so that you will be notified whenever we release new content. Also, thank you to everybody that supports on the Patreon as channel members and come by the live streams that we do, which is called Fanon Live, that we do Monday through Friday right around at 11:40 a.m. Central Standard Time, and then our group panel that we do on the channel, OG Boxing Talk, which takes place at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, Sunday mornings. So, and like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. So let's get into this. All right, so we're now under this pandemic, which means that if a promoter wants to have a fight card, they have to do it without fans being there. Obviously, because of the health risks associated with the COVID-19 virus. So, without the crowds, there's a smaller pool of money for the fighters to be paid out of, for the promoters to be paid out of, all of the different expenses to be paid out of. So, Bob Arum and other promoters started saying, hey, fighters are going to have to agree to take less money because now we're living in an environment where the fights are bringing in less money, and we all have to work together to make sure that the boxing survives and all of that good old stuff, yada, yada, yada. You get my point. Now, Terence Crawford said that he's not fighting. He's not taking a pay cut in order to fight in front of a crowd. That's what his contract says. If Top Rank wants him to fight, they're going to have to pay him at least the minimum amount that's required on the contract, right? So makes sense to me, especially if you are somebody like Terence Crawford and you have the wherewithal not to fight, right? Terence Crawford fought, I do believe, was it October? But he fought or December of 2019. And if he got $3 million for that fight, hey, man, there's a whole lot of people in the world that can live off $6 million for $2 million, $3 million for a while. Or if he fought twice, $6 million. And you just say, take all the bills out of it. Say he walks away with half of it, right? After taxes and paying whoever he's got to pay, that he walks away with half of it. Hey, I think Terence Crawford might be able to make it for a little while in Omaha, Nebraska off of $3 million. So he can say, screw you, I'm not interested in it, right? Now, when I first heard that, I was like, yeah, that's one way you could look at it. The other way that you could look at it, if I was Terence Crawford, is if this was an agreement that I didn't want, that I think that I could get a better deal in by being out of it, I might agree. I might actually agree under certain circumstances to fight for less than my minimum. However, just understand that when I fight for less than my minimum, I'm giving something up, and you have to give something up too, right? So I wasn't open to just disregarding that situation and saying no, because there's absolute value, even though you give money, right? Even though you're giving up payment, right? You can get something valuable in exchange for your agreement to take less than what was promised to you. Now, I'll get into what that is in a minute, but I had a suspicion that Bob Arum was not, if anybody had tried this particular tactic on this negotiation tactic on Bob Arum, that he would immediately say, no, thank you. I'll pay you your minimum. Okay. Is your minimum $3 million? Fine. I'll pay the minimum because the value that could be extracted out of Bob Arum in exchange for fighting for less than that minimum could be a whole lot of money on the back end. So Bob Arum said, none of these guys like Terence Crawford are going to be asked to fight below their minimum. Yeah, I was like, yeah, exactly, Bob, exactly. No, you will not. And let me tell you exactly why he would not want to do that, okay? If Bob Arum has the money to pay, why he would not want to do that? Because if I was Terence Crawford, I would say, hey, you're right. Let's strike a deal, Bob. My minimum is $3 million. I'll take $1 million. I'll take $1 million. Would that help? Bob could say, yeah, absolutely, that would help. But let me tell you what I want in exchange for that. I want the length of my contract to be reduced. So if it's a 6-year, if it's Terence Crawford you're talking about, or Vasily Lomachenko you're talking about, right? What I would say is, hey, yeah, let's shorten the contract. Let's say I will take these minimum, but best case scenario, I want to go fight to fight with you, right? I want to go fight to fight with you. So if we're going to just negotiate every fight as we go, and if you can't give me a deal that I think is acceptable for any particular fight, right? Then I want to be able to go fight with whoever it is that can give me a better offer, like say the PBC, right? If you can't give me a fight that makes me X amount of money and that I'm happy with, if I can get a better offer from Al Heyman for a fight, I want to give you the opportunity I want to give you the first option, right? The first offer. What is it? The right of first offer and last refusal. You can give me an offer, right? I can see if I can go find a better offer for a fight, then I can take it unless you beat it, which would then have you in a situation where now there's increased flexibility for Terence Crawford, right? And he's able to, if somebody can make him more money, he can go fight somewhere else and make these fights reasonable. Or he can just say, hey, I want out of my deal. We'll fight. Yeah, I'll do a minimum, but after 2 more fights, I want out of the deal. Or I want to be able to renegotiate the deal after 3 more fights, right? So there's value that can be created. It would be worth, so for example, you say you want me to take $1 million less or $2 million less. So where am I going to find $2 million worth of value, right? To make up for the $2 million that I'm giving to you, right? Well, it could be like I said, it could be in the length of the contract. It could be in the ability to negotiate with other parties and have Bob Arum have to match it. And if he doesn't match it, you can go on and take another fight. There's a bunch of different ways that you can make that happen, which is why I was like, yep, Bob ain't going to want to do that. Bob Arum would be more than happy, or somebody in that particular situation would be more than happy with this part. Hey, we're all together. We know we need to pay you less money because of XYZ, and everybody understands that. But, and then that's all they want to do, right? That's all they want to do. They don't want to give up. They don't want to give you any additional value for the value that they're taking away. Because there's values, and there's value in contracts that exist beyond just the dollar signs, right? Or ways to allow you to get out of the contract altogether. So anyway, I just was thinking when Bob Arum said that, when they were running around saying that they were going to make these guys take pay cuts, I was like, wow, perfect opportunity for these guys that are being asked to take pay cuts to get concessions out of Bob Arum, or ask for concessions that might be more valuable in the end. So by way of explanation, just say, for example, Terence Crawford's minimum is $3 million a fight. He's guaranteed to get $3 million a fight. And he decides to fight for 1.5, right? But in exchange for the 1.5, he gets what I said, which is a right to have, he has a right to go seek other promoters and other opportunities that could match what Bob Arum is offering, right? And Bob Arum would have to then match that in order to have the fight. he might be able to get somebody like Al Heyman or somebody like Eddie Hearn and those guys to go well above his minimum in one of these fights just for the sake of getting him for a special fight, right? And then Bob Arum would be either have to match it or he would be out. So in the case that Bob Arum, got the $1.5 million lower salary in the fights under Corona, but a year from now, he might miss out on a $15 million. He might miss out on a $5 million payday if Terence Crawford was able to have the fight with, say, Errol Spence Jr. or Manny Pacquiao without him. You know what I mean? So anyway, I knew Bob Arum was going to fold on that, man. I knew Bob Arum was going to fold on that, and Terence Crawford was in a position of strength. One, because of the amount of money that he earned before, and two, because of the numbers of potential suitors there are for Terence Crawford outside of Top Rank. So anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. Also, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for supporting on the Patreon and the channel members and the live streams that we do Monday through Friday and on Sunday morning. And with that, we're out. Peace.